We're working on emergency funding. We're doing everything we can, and we're working very well with the governor, who's done a terrific job.
The first natural disaster for President Trump. How did he respond? What are his plans to help the people in Texas? Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Conan. Welcome to ABC 7 at 7. We'll have more on the federal response to Hurricane Harvey in a moment, but first, our top 7 stories at 7. The Atlanta Braves are one important step closer to calling Northport their spring training home. Earlier today, the state announced a $20 million grant will go towards the project, a crucial part of getting the deal finalized. The stadium will be located on an 80-acre campus in the West Villages section of Northport. It took financial contributions from Sarasota County, the city of Northport, West Villages, and now the state.
Baltimore Orioles are responsible for somewhere in the neighborhood of $89 to $90 million a year in economic activity, economic impact.
The final agreements still need to be signed before the ground is broken. Now to new developments involving a murder investigation in Manatee County. Investigators are trying to figure out what happened to 20-year-old Corey Iwanski. His body was found inside a car behind a plaza on 53rd Avenue East in Bradenton early Tuesday morning. Investigators are trying to find the drivers of 3 vehicles that were in the area where Iwanski was found. They are releasing pictures of the vehicles. If you have any information, you are asked to call the Manatee County Sheriff's Office. A Bradenton woman faces child neglect charges tonight after investigators say she left her 2-week-old niece with a stranger. Sheriff's deputies say Stephanie Fetner asked a woman at Bee Ridge Park to watch the infant while she played softball on Tuesday. Deputies say that woman then offered to take the baby home for the night because she was worried Fetner was too intoxicated to care for the child. Fetner gave the newborn to the woman and left the park without leaving any way to contact her. Detectives say Fetner is the infant's primary caregiver. A Northport woman is accused of malnourishing and abandoning 2 dogs. A neighbor called the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office about the dogs back on July 6th. When they arrived at the home on Morado Drive, they found the dogs confined to a lanai, covered in urine and feces, without access to food or water. Deputies took the dogs to a vet for evaluation and treatment. The boxer mix was emaciated and a pit bull mix was covered in fleas and missing patches of fur. After several weeks, deputies located Kelsey Lewis in Port Charlotte. She told them she moved out of the house and didn't know who was caring for the dogs. Lewis is facing multiple counts of animal cruelty. When the disaster strikes, the primary focus is on people, and sometimes pets and animals get overlooked. But some groups on the Suncoast are working hard to make sure that doesn't happen to pets in Texas. Many pets were stranded when people left their homes for safety during Hurricane Harvey. Friends of Manatee County Animal Services say they have started a Hurricane Harvey pet relief collection at locations throughout Manatee and Sarasota counties. You can make donations through September 16th at any of these locations on your screen. Students and teachers at Lakewood Ranch High School are moving out of their classrooms because of mold. Building 4 on the campus in Manatee County has been vacated. Staff alerted the school about the issue last month. The school district decided to hire an outside firm to assess the building. The company's report found mold was visible in the building, as well as areas of water damage. The classes in the building were relocated so it could be thoroughly cleaned.
It's Florida. Mold's everywhere. And so even as the expert witness said, you go in your refrigerator and you have a brand new package of cheese that's sealed, never been opened, and it's still moldy. And so it comes from everywhere.
The school district hopes to reopen it on September 11th. The district also plans to reevaluate all the buildings on campus. Gasoline prices are rising as fear continues of gas shortages because of Hurricane Harvey. The AAA says the national average for a gallon of regular gas rose in one day from $2.45 on Thursday to $2.52 on Friday. Some gas stations have already run out of gas, so you might want to fill up now before gas prices increase even more. Now let's head out to Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan, who joins us from Music on Main in Lakewood Ranch. Bob.
Well, thanks, Alan. Right now we're looking at some inland storms mainly right now and off in the Gulf, but not much going on here along the immediate coastline right now. There is a chance we could see some redevelopment later on this evening. Let's go to the maps right now and show you what's happening as far as that goes. The heaviest activity by far in the Gulf of Mexico, spinning off to the northeast and also into Hardee and DeSoto counties. Not at all anything going on from Venice through Bradenton at this hour, and it looks like it should stay that way for the most part. There's a slight chance for an evening storm working its way back to the coast as some of the surface boundaries. Outflow from those inland storms pushes off to the west. And right now we can see some activity pretty heavy now in Wauchula and spreading east of Mayaca Head. And then down south, right there west of Arcadia, some heavy rain. A few showers offshore, not doing a whole lot, pushing off to the north. Currently, we have some sunshine and pretty warm temperatures today. It topped out right around average for the most part. We are looking at a high heat index, though, at 101, with a high dew point of 79, the pressure 29.96 inches. Well, in the tropics, we continue to watch what's happening with Irma out there. It's way out in the Atlantic. No threat to any land anytime soon. In fact, it may not be a threat to land. We'll keep an eye on it for you, though, as it makes its way to the west-northwest right now. Too early to tell if it's going to have an impact on the U.S. Top winds are at 120. Winds are out of the west at 13 miles an hour. We are here again at Music on Main, where it is happening here the first Friday of the month. Zoot Suit Riot. Back to you.
Music and weather together. The response to Hurricane Harvey and the debate over federal aid when we return.
When it comes to drinking, what do you think moderation is? The U.S. Dietary Guidelines define moderation as up to 1 drink a day for women and up to 2 drinks a day for men. So what's a drink? The guidelines say a drink equals 12 ounces of beer, 5 ounces of wine, or a cocktail with 1.5 ounces of distilled spirits. Each contains the same amount of alcohol. Like to learn more? Visit drinkinmoderation.org.
When I was growing up, my mom told us, always treat others the way you want to be treated. She did business with companies that shared her values, like Mutual of Omaha. She had a guaranteed whole life insurance policy through United of Omaha Life Insurance Company, a Mutual of Omaha company. When my mother passed away, her United of Omaha policy helped cover her funeral expenses and bills, and they had money on its way to us within 24 hours.
United of Omaha is here to take care of you. When you call the number on your screen, we'll help find the right policy for you. If you're between 45 and 85, you can get coverage up to $25,000 with no medical exam. Call us right now at the number on your screen.
Now I know I'll be taking care of my family, even after I'm gone.
United of Omaha Guaranteed Whole Life Insurance. Call or go online now. Be there for their future.
I'm calling in regards about my mother, and I'm here, and I just want to thank you because it saved my mother's life yesterday. And I'd like to know the names of the people that came in and saved her so I could call and thank them. And she's doing fine. It's a wonderful thing. Thank you.
When you fall and cannot get up, an accident can turn into a tragedy. But with Life Alert, one touch of a button can get you help fast.
Life Alert saves a person from a catastrophe every 10 minutes.
Life Alert is a lifesaver. If it weren't for Life Alert, I wouldn't be sitting here today.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-652-3012. That's 1-800-652-3012. Call now 1-800-652-3012. For a free brochure, call 1-800-652-3012.
When severe weather strikes, trust ABC7 First Alert Weather. We're here for you.
This week, we witnessed the heartbreak and heroism in the aftermath of Hurricane Harvey. Next week, the storm clouds descend on another U.S. city, Washington, D.C. Reporter Boris Sanchez takes us through the details.
Lawmakers returned to Capitol Hill Tuesday with a long to-do list and some fierce legislative battles looming. First on the agenda,
the basket is now clear of the roof.
Hurricane Harvey relief funding. The administration initially requesting $5.9 billion in supplemental spending to aid storm-ravaged areas, with a larger request to come.
We're going to need to go up and ask for a disaster supplemental shortly, if there are, and there will be needs for additional funding in the future as those drawdown construction numbers become more clear on the recovery phase. We'll be able to look at them and ask for a third, kind of bite at the apple on it.
Another item on the agenda that needs immediate attention, the White House asking Congress to raise the debt ceiling before September 29th to avoid the government defaulting on its loans.
We pay our debts in this country. We will continue to do so. So I'm not worried that that's not going to get done, because it's going to get done.
Despite assurances from Republicans on a debt ceiling hike, they'll also need to jump another divisive hurdle by the end of the month, passing a new bill to fund the government. After that chaotic September, the president then wants Congress to take up tax reform.
So this is our once-in-a-generation opportunity to deliver real tax reform for everyday, hardworking Americans. And I am fully committed to working with Congress to get this job done. And I don't want to be disappointed by Congress. Do you understand me?
Democrats saying they will not go along with any plan that cuts taxes for the wealthiest Americans.
This is going to be one of the biggest fights of the next 3-4 months, and Democrats are ready for it.
Frustrated by the lack of legislative accomplishments,
the amendment's not agreed to.
The president is pushing Republicans to dump the filibuster rule and only require a simple majority of 51 votes to pass a bill instead of 60.
And if we don't, the Republicans will never get anything passed. You're wasting your time.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says that is a non-starter.
There are not the votes in the Senate, as I've said repeatedly to the president and to all of you, to change the rules of the Senate.
Trump's frayed relationship with McConnell and his recent attacks on GOP allies like Tennessee Senator Bob Corker have led to questions about whether the White House may be hindering Republicans' efforts to get something done, especially with only 43 shared legislative days left in 2017.
Coming up, the chairman of the Sarasota Republican Party, the chair of the Manatee Democratic Party, and the top political reporter on the Suncoast gather around the trapezoid.
Credit card debt can ruin your life. If you owe $10,000 and minimum payments are siphoning away your paycheck each month, you can get debt-free in less time than you think.
I've paid $800 a month for the past 3 years and haven't changed the balance on my credit card.
Get debt-free now has a program to reduce your debt, stop the harassing phone calls, avoid financial ruin, and settle for less than you owe.
I feel like a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders.
You're pre-approved for our special hardship program if you owe $10,000 or more. Upon payment of your new lower balance, your debt will finally shrink until you are debt-free.
My family no longer has 30 years of payments ahead of us at 20% interest.
There's no fees until you see results. So call now, make one monthly program payment, and free up your cash. Resolve your debt.
Call 800-685-6422, 800-685-6422.
We answered the call of duty and left our homes to serve in far-off lands. Now, we answer another call, this time at home, in our own communities, to respond in times of chaos. To use our strength, our skills, and our experiences to bring hope amid devastation and destruction. Together, as a team of brothers and sisters, we're continuing our mission to make this country a little stronger and a little better each day. We are Team Rubicon.
Welcome back. During times of natural disaster, we put politics, race, and economic class aside, right? After the rain and flood waters that caused so much destruction and heartbreak in Houston didn't distinguish between Republicans and Democrats. If anything, the tales of heroism and survival were inspiring, but these days, politics is never too far away from anything, and that's why we have the trapezoid. Joining us tonight is State Representative Joe Gruters, the chairman of the Sarasota Republican Party, Cheryl Wilson, the chair of the Manatee Democratic Party, and Zach Anderson, the political editor of the Herald Tribune. And Cheryl, I'll start with you. How would you judge President Trump's reaction to Hurricane Harvey?
Well, it's Friday night. There's another storm out there, so I'm holding with bated breath to see what other announcements come out of the president's mouth. There was a lot of distraction going on when there more appropriately would have been more attention going on. I applaud him for going to Texas and attempting to show some humanity, showing some concern, and I guess there's an element of the population that is comforted by the commander-in-chief or the president being there. But there's been hands-on response and hands-on participation from other levels of the government and from the communities. But I think the president has actually kept his distance.
Joe, what Cheryl is referring to there, of course, is that as Harvey was bearing down on Houston late last Friday night, a week ago, the president announced that Sheriff Arpaio was being pardoned. He said because he expected there would be great ratings on a Friday night. There's been some criticism that not only was the pardon not appropriate, but doing it late on a Friday night as a natural disaster was happening, say you?
Well, I think the president did a phenomenal job with this entire disaster, and after the last couple of months, to me, it was just fantastic to see really all these Texans come together, helping each other. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, brown. To me, it shows that humanity does have a future, that we can get along, that we could do better. I think Donald Trump coming down there and visiting and staying out of the way was the right move. I think the fact that his administration has been so on top of things in terms of coordination between federal, state, and local governments and trying to push out a response that I don't think we've ever seen in a natural disaster. This is why we elected president to lead. I think he's done an amazing job, and I think that people should give him credit across the board. And as for the sheriff, I'm very excited that he, and I think it was the right move to, they got the sheriff on a technicality. And to me, I think he was punished for following the law and doing what was right. Yeah. That's essentially, and
he defied
on top
a court
of that,
order.
And on top of that,
he defied a court
order. And on top
order.
of that, he asked for a jury trial. He was denied. And here's a guy that's trying to follow the law and trying to follow the Constitution and trying to obey the laws that exist. If you don't agree with the laws, my thing is change the laws, right? Say we have no borders. You have all the illegal immigrants you want. But people should say that. The problem is the sheriff was doing what he thought was right in terms of protecting American citizens. They got him on a technicality. He wasn't given a fair jury trial, and I think Trump was right to pardon him. And I hope to bring him down to Sarasota soon.
Zach, how is that argument playing here on the Suncoast?
Well, I think that, there's a lot of people who do, if you're looking at the immigration perspective and Sheriff Arpaio, I think that there's a lot of people who do support President Trump when it comes to that immigration issue, and I think that plays pretty well here on the Suncoast. It's one of the reasons that Trump did so well here. This is, an overwhelmingly white area. There's a lot of, there's not a lot of diversity here. So, I don't think you hear a lot of, that perspective from the Hispanic community as much here. But when it comes to the hurricane response and Trump's response to the hurricane, he did get a little bit of criticism there. And
about what?
Well, he got some criticism for making it more about himself a little bit. I mean, he talked about the crowd sizes when he was there. Some people said that he didn't meet with hurricane victims. I think that's sort of a lose-lose situation. People are always going to nitpick you about some of those things. If you don't go to the disaster zone, if you do go, you're distracting from what the rescue effort is. But I think the ultimate decision, the ultimate judgment on him will be whether or not his government really helps the people recover.
All right, we're going to take a pause. We're going to talk more about the recovery in a moment. We are just getting warmed up. We'll have much more on the week of politics right after we check the First Alert weather. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Joan London with A Place for Mom. Over the years, we've helped thousands of families find senior care, and today's senior living communities have never been better, with amazing amenities like movie theaters, exercise rooms and swimming pools, public cafes, bars and bistros, even pet care services. And nobody understands your options like the advisors at A Place for Mom. These are local expert advisors that will partner with you to find the perfect place and determine the right level of care, whether that's just a helping hand or full-time memory care. Best of all, it's a free service. Call today. A Place for Mom. You know your family, we know senior living. Together, we'll make the right choice.
Call A Place for Mom right now to get our free ebook on financing senior care, as well as a free referral for senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-290-0352. That's 1-800-290-0352.
This is an important announcement. If you're between 50 and 85 and worried about your loved ones, you can still get affordable life insurance for peace of mind.
My life insurance coverage is guaranteed, and I was not required to get a medical exam.
I had high blood pressure and diabetes, and I got my coverage with one telephone call. No exam necessary.
I'm a smoker, and I wanted to take care of my family. I called to get my life insurance and my affairs in order. I wanted to do the right thing.
Call Final Expense No Exam Insurance. Your rates are guaranteed and will never increase.
I called and learned that this insurance cannot be canceled even if you get sick or gain weight.
And there are no restrictions on how my beneficiaries use the money when I'm gone.
Approval was easy and the price was right. I wanted to do this for my children.
Call 800-738-9812. 800-738-9812.
Growing up, my mom was afraid of the water, something she did not want me to feel.
So I enrolled Missy in swim lessons.
It changed my life.
Missy Franklin.
And now you can do the same for someone that you love.
There's nothing more precious than your child's well-being.
So act now, before it's too late.
Make us swim! I'm glad I did.
Thanks, Mom. Visit usaswimmingfoundation.org to find, get, or give a swim lesson.
Now your ABC7 First Alert weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan.
Music on Main, the first Friday of the month here on September 1st. And we have Ocean's 11 playing some big band music. They are cranking it out tonight. A good crowd on hand. We've had some high clouds move over, and I tell you what, it's cooled it down a little bit here. Let's go to show you what's happening on the weather forecast as we see it right now. Graphics showing the bandways of webcam throughout the day today. Looked really quite nice for the area beaches. No significant weather around really to cause any problems. We had some rip current advisories in effect due to the strong wave action due to a trough of low pressure out in the Gulf of Mexico. That trough continues to progress to the east very slowly, and it will be in place on Saturday to bring us a better chance for showers and some storms. Now, most of the activity is well inland, pushing off to the north, and it looks to be pretty good for football Friday night. I would not discount an isolated storm popping up near the coast later on this evening, but most of the games should be over by then. So a fairly good start to football Friday night. Now we are looking at some activity out in the Gulf, which is fairly significant. That is something to watch as we move into the weekend. Now, The rainfall has been heavy at times, and it could be heavy tomorrow, and the ground's saturated as way it is. We could see some possibility of some localized flooding. I don't think we'll see it as bad as we saw it last Saturday, but this is the tropical season, and there is a low pressure out there in the Gulf. It's a line of low pressure, but still, nonetheless, it bears watching. 87 degrees right now, feels like 101. The high today was 92, 78 was your morning low. Starting off the month dry, we started off August dry too, but we ended up being the second wettest month in over 100 years. It's Sarasota, so things can change very rapidly here during this time of year. 87 in Sarasota, 83 in Orlando with some showers nearby there. Look at the cooler temperatures in Avon Park and Wauchula in our interior counties due to the rain that's been around throughout the day, at least this afternoon. Forecast is calling for showers and storms scattered about in the morning hours, and there's even a chance in the afternoon, so the rain chances will stay high. Tropical tracker showing what Irma's doing. We've gotten some better news on Irma in that it appears now it's going to miss the islands. There's still a chance, though. A lot can happen, but more and more the models are coming into agreement that this is going to do a little bend to the northwest due to the weakness in the high pressure ridge, which have been driving it. And then a trough over the eastern United States will cause it possibly to miss the U.S. So it bears watching, but nonetheless better news on that front as the European and the USA model are coming into more of agreement with that. Again, a very healthy looking storm it is. For boaters, winds out of the southeast, turning to the southwest at 5 to 10 knots. Seas will be 1 to 2 feet with a light chop. Water temperature at 89 degrees, and a UV index is at an 8 tomorrow due to the increased cloud cover. Tides on your screen, there they are. High tide will be just after midnight tonight. Tonight, partly cloudy and isolated storm possible, 76 for your low. And then tomorrow, look for scattered showers and storms, some of that heavy at times with 90-degree high. The extended forecast looks like this. Less of a chance on Labor Day, and then we'll stay with showers and storms mainly in the afternoon throughout next week. We'll be right back after this.
If you're only hungry for a slice of apple pie, why buy the whole pie? And you certainly wouldn't want to pay for an all-you-can-eat buffet. So if you don't use your cell phone that much, why get charged for a plan that's too big, or even an unlimited plan? Luckily, there's still a wireless company that shares your values. Welcome to Consumer Cellular. Our average customer pays about $25 a month for everything they need. Many pay even less, as plans start at just $10 a month. You'll get a straightforward bill that's easy to understand, with no surprises, and all the attention you deserve from our friendly customer service team. No wonder Consumer Cellular has received J.D. Power Awards for highest customer service. Plus, if you're an AARP member, you'll receive special discounts. It's easy to switch. You can even keep your phone and your number. So stop paying for more than you need and start your 30-day risk-free trial today. Call 800-457-2317, go online, or visit a Target store today.
You studied hard, went to college, and achieved your dream, but it turned into a financial nightmare. If you have federal student loans and you'd like to reduce your payments, get more time, or have your loans completely eliminated, then we have good news. With one call to Student Loan Relief Services, you can find support and guidance. We've already helped thousands of people, and we can help you too. If you have $10,000 or more in federal student loans, you can qualify for payment extensions, payment reductions, or you may qualify to have your federal student loan completely forgiven. Call Student Loan Relief Services now to find out about your options. Take control of your finances and get out from under this burden. One of our student loan experts has the answers to your questions and great solutions to ease your financial burden. We're here for you. Call Student Loan Relief Services now.
Call 800-759-0203, 800-759-0203.
Are you Goodwill?
Yes, because when I donate
or shop at Goodwill,
I am creating a job.
I am Goodwill, yeah.
Explore amazing merchants on the Suncoast. Find great prices, products, and services. Go to mysuncoast.com to buy local today.
Welcome back. Hurricane Harvey, hurricane aid, a new Fox poll on the president. And how is that all playing on the Suncoast? Joining us right now tonight are State Representative Joe Gruters, the chairman of the Sarasota Republican Party, Cheryl Wilson, the chair of the Manatee Democratic Party, and Zach Anderson, the political editor of the Herald Tribune. This week we saw incredible heartbreak and heroism in Houston. Now, what was absent was the politics of it all until now, because we are talking about the incredible amount of money it's going to take to make Houston and its residents good. And of course there is debate, especially raised by members of Congress, particularly from the Northeast, that when Superstorm Sandy had a devastating impact on the Northeast, a number of U.S. senators, particularly from Texas, including Senator Cruz, voted against giving all the aid that was requested for the victims of Hurricane Sandy. And of course, at this time, they are asking for billions of dollars to rebuild Houston. Chris Christie took on Senator Ted Cruz recently this week on television. Let's take a look.
And I have no sympathy for this. And I see Senator Cruz, and it's disgusting to me that he stands in a recovery center with victims standing behind him as a backdrop, and he's still repeating the same reprehensible lies about what happened in Sandy.
Every Texas Republican in Congress supported giving aid to the people of Sandy, to the victims of Sandy. All of us spoke out enthusiastically that of course there should be aid pursuant to the federal statutes to those in harm's way.
Joe, PolitiFact said that Senator Cruz overstated that position, that reports of pork in the Sandy appropriations was overstated by Republicans like Ted Cruz.
Well, Senator Cruz isn't the only one who said there was a lot of extra bells and whistles within that bill, and that's why they voted against it. They did want to give Sandy aid. But this gives it, I mean, this gives us all, right, we could all reflect on this and say, this is why when you have a natural disaster and devastation, it should never be about politics. It should never be political. We should do what's right for the people. We should do all we can to try to make people whole. And certainly whether it's in New Jersey, California, Nebraska, Florida, we're all going to experience times where we need help. And this is why we're all Americans. That's what you're seeing on TV, people helping each other. And that's what these guys in D.C., but that's why they hate all politicians in D.C. and in Tallahassee. It is the swamp. Donald Trump is right. These guys are so focused on winning, getting partisan wins, that sometimes they give up on what's the most important thing, and that's going up to serve the common good for everybody. And that's what we should be focused on. I think we saw, I think Houston, this disaster, I saw the best of humanity. And I expect Donald Trump to continue to do well, and I think Donald Trump will push for aid for Texas and anywhere else that struggles because of some type of natural disaster.
Cheryl, that was not a partisan issue, because that, you know, Chris Christie is obviously a Republican. Congressman Peter King from New York is also a Republican, but they think that it was a regional thing, that the South was not willing to bail out the North, and but they're saying that this time around they're not going to play the same game.
I was very unaware of the North-South issue, and I would oppose that. I would say I would agree with Joe on that one, that these are American cities and American areas that are being impacted, and it is the obligation and the responsibility of the government to take that on. I'm much more concerned about the funding and the budget and the likelihood of a shutdown, priorities, walls taking place over coastlines. There are a lot of other issues that I think would come into it much more than the geographic location. As Joe said, we're all vulnerable to some type of weather disaster or environmental disaster that could strike any of us at any time. So to make it a regional thing, I would disagree with that.
All right, one other issue we want to get into here is a new Fox News poll that came out this week in terms of what people think of President Trump. And this, again, folks, this is from the Fox News channel, not one of those left-wing media outlets. A new Fox News poll, and I think we have it on the screen, shows that 53% of those surveyed think that President Trump is a bully, while 43% say he is unstable. Fewer voters, about a third, assign the clearly positive terms competent, 35%, strong leader, 35%, Problem solver, 32%. You know, those are not numbers, Zach, that you really want to boast about.
No, that's not pretty at all. And, you know, it's interesting. Trump has had a lot of issues, and I think that one of the more interesting things is that his numbers have not cratered completely. You know, if you look at, even in that same poll, Republicans, more than 2/3 of Republicans still have a favorable opinion of Donald Trump, despite him being more controversial at this stage in his presidency than any modern president in memory. So he has, you know, Charlottesville was not good for him. I think that further divided people. You've seen his numbers come down. His favorability rating is consistently in the mid to high 30s. But, you know, you've seen other presidents get down below that, you know, into the 20s and below.
After Katrina.
Historically unpopular presidents, yes. And so it's interesting to see that he still does hold his base. When his base collapses, who knows whether that ever happens. But, you know, I think the poll does still hold some positive news for him.
Joe, I'm sure. Charlotte,
well, I was just going to observe that I watched a bit of the focus group discussion, and it was very much a focus group of Trump voters. And I would call it a crater. They, when they went around the room and spoke with the people who had supported Trump in the election, it was almost unanimous that they were all disappointed. He was cratering in that room. But there are a few reasons that Trump supporters voted for him. They thought that he might have a legislative agenda, that something could be accomplished, and he hasn't done that. Joe alluded to the draining of the swamp, and the swamp that he was describing is just as ugly as ever. And you have a president who doesn't comport himself as most Americans expect that he would.
Joe, I am unaware of any polling on these kind of issues that are taking place in Sarasota or the Suncoast or even the Tampa Bay area. Do you suspect Trump's numbers are better than that here? And if so, why here and not the rest of the country?
You know, I don't think the president is necessarily concerned about poll numbers necessarily. I think what he's concerned about is doing exactly what he said when he campaigned on. I think what he's focused on is doing what's best for America. And you're right, he has struggled getting his agenda passed through Congress, because whenever you're going to try to create change in a system, it is good. They're going to push back with all the forces they possibly can, and that's why you're seeing the constant disruption by the Democrats. That's why you're seeing members of his own party break, because they don't want to give him an inch. But I think that he'll continue to do well, and he will pass parts of his agenda and will help everybody.
It's not the Democrats that are stopping his agenda in
It's
Congress.
the swamp. It's the swamp. It's both sides.
He could pass anything he wants if he gets Republicans to vote for him.
You're right, but think about all the success we've had economically because of Donald Trump, and you could debate some of that may be a carryover, but at the end of the day, jobs are being created, the economy is buzzing, people are going back to work. It's a win for everybody.
We have less than 2 minutes. I want to get to this issue real fast. The president is set to make some kind of decision on DACA on Tuesday. For those of you who don't realize what that is, that's the Dreamers, the policy that President Obama took in not to emphasize the deportation of young people, children who came to the United States illegally brought in by their parents. Joe, the president said during the campaign he was sympathetic to that cause. Now there is at least talk he may depart from that position.
It's going to be interesting to see what they come out with, but I think that the general policy should be, first and foremost, is you reward the people who came here legally. Some people have been in the system 15 years trying to become citizens. Certainly, the people need to get into the back of the line. And number two, really the focus needs to be on the violent offenders, people who commit crimes, deport those people first. And I think that you'll see something similar to that when he comes out on Tuesday, because at the end of the day, people should be here legally. We're deporting them. They're coming back, and yeah, you're right. The kids are somewhat innocent victims.
You don't break a bond with a group of people that you made that bond with when there's a legislative answer to it and a legislative approach. But this is just, again, another diversion that the president threw out there to go away from the issues that he's unable to face.
All right, we have to take a quick break. Final thoughts when we return.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Our accredited staff will handle all of the Medicare paperwork for free, and best of all, your brace is shipped directly to your home for free. Don't let chronic lower back pain slow you down. Get moving and stay active with a medical-grade back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost. We also accept Blue Cross Blue Shield, United Healthcare, Aetna, Humana, and other insurance. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace covered by Medicare? Find out for free.
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-715-0835. That's 1-800-715-0835, 1-800-715-0835.
For the last 18 years, Samantha's Friends has been assisting people along the Suncoast who have been challenged by catastrophic illnesses or affected by autism obtain a service canine. We need your help. Please show your support by attending our annual Celebrity Gala brunch and fundraiser. Call Sammy Lee at 941-448-8558 for more information.
Here we go. We're gonna go out there in the rain. Gonna get wet. All right, here we go. Okay, quick. Oh yeah, yes. So much fun. Mwah. So wet.
Check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, step-by-step videos, and Suncoast Restaurant Guide. You'll find it all at mysuncoast.com/dining.
An incredible week, Hurricane Harvey, the president's response to federal aid. Our guests join us right now for final thoughts, but there is some local political news, Zach, that I want to ask you about. That is the intention of State Representative Alex Miller, who was just elected less than a year ago, leaving the legislature. What do you hear about why, and what do you hear about the race to replace her?
Yeah, it was pretty shocking. She'd only been in office for 9 months when she announced her resignation, and it's a big deal. It shakes up the local political landscape. You know, I was surprised myself, but she had had kind of a rough legislative session. You know, she had been on the outs with the leadership in the House. You know, she initially put out a statement that said, "I'm resigning because of family issues. I want to be home with my children and with my business." And then I actually talked to her this week and did an interview with her that'll be in my column on Sunday, where she elaborated a little bit more. And she said, first and foremost, she really was surprised by the time commitment. You know, it's they advertise it as a 2-month job, but really you spend months and months in committee meetings. And she went further and said that, you know, really the power politics in Tallahassee really did upset her somewhat, and she got punished for some of the votes that she took.
And Joe, I want to ask you about that because, you know, the talk is that part of the issue there was inter-Republican Party politics. Tell us.
Well, there's no question. I will tell you, it's incredibly sad for me to see Alex leave because I thought she was a superstar in Tallahassee. I thought she had a bright future. She would have done a great job representing Sarasota. But it's somewhat bittersweet because now I think the person who will replace her, James Buchanan, will come on the scene. I think he's competent, capable. He'll be a great candidate. He'll be a great member, and I can't wait to serve with him.
Was part of this picking the wrong horse in the leadership?
Well, you never know. Listen. There's lots of different issues that I think happened with Alex, but I do think it was family. I do think it was the time commitment. It is a terrible. From a standpoint of time, it's a lot of time. But I will tell you, Alex Miller served with class. She's a wonderful person, and she'll do great back there on the Suncoast.
This was a seat that Democrats thought they could win and didn't. Who do you have out there right now that could be a real candidate?
In the seat that Alex is vacating? Well, that's not ours. That
but
seat
it does
is
go
not
into
in Manatee County.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't at all. What it did was it moved James Buchanan out of a race that does include Manatee County and left an uncontested primary for Will Robinson, so far uncontested. we are contesting that seat in Manatee County.
Will Robinson is also a superstar.
Okay.
Exactly, and I think that was the plan that we saw come to fruition.
We'll have to leave it there. But before we go, some thoughts about last night's show. Foster kids aging out. What happens to kids in foster care when they turn 18 years old? There are about 14,000 kids in foster care in Florida. Studies show when they age out of the system, 40% wind up homeless. Nearly 60% of young men who age out wind up in jail. Why do so many foster kids end up homeless and struggling? Tanya says if more focus and energy went into the wholeness of the team structure and thoroughness, I feel that there would be more children adopted out or put back into their homes before aged out of care than to be left to what? Repeat the cycle. Access to health care is the biggest issue. Most of these kids arrive on the foster parents' doorstep with a bag of medications and no instructions or information as to why they take them. And another viewer says they are Medicaid eligible, but that means waiting months to years for treatment and services. Well, if you would like to join the conversation on tonight's topic, just visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/mysuncoast.com/ABC7. And FYI, you can watch past discussions. They're on demand. They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. We want to thank our guests for being here tonight. State Representative Joe Gruters, the chairman of the Sarasota Republican Party, Cheryl Wilson, the chair of the Manatee Democratic Party, and Zach Anderson, the political editor of the Herald Tribune. When we return, we'll have a final look at your first alert weather, plus President Trump expressed sympathy for the Dreamers. Is he about to reverse course?
What if you had a medical emergency away from home?
My chest hurts. I can't breathe.
What you need is Mobile Help, America's premier mobile medical alert system. Most systems only work at home, but with Mobile Help, you get help outside the home with coverage nationwide on one of the largest cellular networks at the press of a button. Call the number on your screen for a free full-color brochure. We'll send you everything you need, including this base station, the patented mobile device, and the waterproof pendant and wrist button. You can also add the fall button that automatically detects falls and signals help. Call today and receive a risk-free 30-day trial. There is no equipment to buy and no long-term contract. For a limited time, you will also receive a free emergency key box with your plan purchase. Remember, Mobile Help keeps you safe coast to coast.
Call 1-800-916-8638. That's 1-800-916-8638.
Is your mop a dirty, disgusting mess? You need the Hurricane 360 Spin Mop System, the only mop and bucket that spins the dirt away. A system that cleans practically anything and everything with super absorbent microfiber. Dip it in the washer side and the mess releases into the bucket. Then place it in the dryer side and push on the pedal. You get a clean mop head that's practically dry and ready for more. And your hands will never again touch a dirty, disgusting mop. The heads are washable and reusable. Get the Hurricane 360 Spin Mop System for just 2 payments of $19.99. You'll also get a Sticky Buddy, the reusable sticky roller that picks up pet hair and lint and washes clean in seconds. You can take advantage of our 2-for-1 Pick It Up special and get a second spin mop set. Just pay additional shipping and fee. And we'll upgrade you to free priority handling. So don't wait. Order now.
Call 1-800-394-1524 to get your Hurricane Spin Mop double offer. So hurry and call 1-800-394-1524. Call now.
Now your ABC7 First Alert Weather Forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan.
Well, hello everyone. We're here at Lakewood Ranch. That's right, Music on Main, first Friday of the month, and we have Ocean's 11 playing right now. We have a beautiful evening here. No rain occurred, and it looks like it's going to stay dry too, as a result of the storms well inland and out into the east into the Gulf of Mexico, actually the west in the Gulf of Mexico. Let's get a look at the Lakewood Ranch webcam and review. And we saw a lot of sunshine today. Temperatures managed to soar up into the upper 80s to low 90s, with a heat index up near 100 to 105 degrees this afternoon. But currently, it looks good for Football Friday night. As I mentioned, there may be an isolated shower or two later on this evening due to some outflow from the storms that are inland and the ones out in the Gulf, too. You can see we're kind of sandwiched in between both of those big storms. Now, it has been rather heavy rain now into Hardee and DeSoto counties as they make their way off toward the north and a slight jog to the west, but not much. Right along the coastline from Manatee County southward down into western Charlotte, there's not a whole lot happening, although there is a storm starting to pop up near Port Charlotte. Out in the Gulf, that's a trough of low pressure. It is inching very closely toward the east, so that'll be in play tomorrow morning. Look out for showers and storms in the morning. Some of that could be heavy at times. Again, in some isolated areas. Not everyone's going to get it. And the clouds are increasing with that trough of low pressure as they make their way off basically to the east and north right now. Behind it, some slightly drier air. 87 degrees, sunshine, and the pressure 2.996 inches. That west wind at 9 is really bringing in the high humidity. 92 the high today. 78 was the morning low. No rainfall to report. Starting it off dry. And as far as temperatures go, 88 Miami, 88 in Key West, and 87 in Pensacola. And closer to home, temperatures have cooled down to the mid-70s where it's been raining, mid-80s where it's not. And as far as the hourly forecast goes, showers and storms possible in the morning, and I'm going to say even in the afternoon, although this graphic doesn't show it, it's a computerized generated graphic, and I think we'll see a little bit better chance for some more afternoon storms too. Well, Irma, I talked about it earlier, and it's a little bit better. Although it's still going to be a major hurricane, Category 4 storm in 5 days, at least that's what it looks like. The bend is occurring before the islands now, it appears. Which each successive computer forecast run, we're seeing less of the Leeward Islands covered in that cone. It's always a good sign, and the models are starting to come into agreement. If the European and the United States model were differing, it'd be a different story. But it appears that the GFS, or the United States model, got this one right, but it has not been graded yet. We'll see how it plays out in the next 5 days. But for the time being, this is a big storm that continues to possibly get even stronger in about 5 days. For boaters, a light chop out there. Seas running 2 feet or less. And as far as the water temperature goes, it's heating up, 89. The UV index will be a little lower tomorrow due to the increased cloud cover out there in the Gulf. Tides upcoming are on your screen. Next high tide will be at just after midnight. Another one at 10:11 tomorrow morning. Here's the 7-day. Better chance for rain. Saturday, Sunday tapering off a little bit. Monday looking good. Labor Day looks to be okay. Rain chance at 40%. Partly cloudy skies. Great music right now here at Lakewood Ranch. Goes up until about 9 o'clock, so come on out. Still got some time to listen to Ocean's 11, the big band music.
Everything all right? Actually, you know how Tom had knee surgery? Sure. We found out Brad's been taking his painkillers. And it turns out he's been doing it for a while.
Most people don't know what to say about drugs, but we do. Visit us at drugfree.org.
ABC7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you. Watch ABC7 wherever you are, on our live stream, on mysuncoast.com, on the ABC7 My Suncoast app, powered by the Eye Associates, providing sight for life, featuring traffic maps and live radar, dining with recipes, and My Suncoast Restaurant Guide. Visit mysuncoast.com. Click on the Apps tab to download the ABC7 My Suncoast app for Apple and Android.
Florida's coral reefs are declining. Bad news for our oceans and marine life. Fortunately, you can help, and you don't have to dive, you just have to drive. When you purchase Moat's Protect Our Reefs license plate, $25 goes directly to Moat Marine Laboratory, whose research, restoration, and conservation programs are helping this precious natural resource thrive once again. So get your Moat Protect Our Reefs license plate today. You just might hold the key to saving Florida's reefs.
The American Red Cross has mobilized a massive relief effort to provide shelter, food, and comfort to the victims of Hurricane Harvey. They will continue to be there in the weeks and months ahead, helping residents recover from this massive storm. Please help people affected by Hurricane Harvey by visiting redcross.org, calling 1-800-RED-CROSS, or texting the word Harvey to 90999 to make a $10 donation. Donations enable the Red Cross to prepare for, respond to, and help people recover from this disaster. Thank you.
We're losing exotic animals on a daily basis, and the ones that we have in captivity are really the ambassadors for their wild counterparts. I'm Clayton Rozier from the Big Cat Habitat and Gulf Coast Sanctuary, housing over 150 exotic animals that needed a great home. And if you love animals, please help them. Do it locally. Support your local no-kill shelters, your local wild animal sanctuaries. Make a difference where you can.
Checking our primetime headlines, candidate Donald Trump said he sympathized with the so-called Dreamers. President Trump may be about to change federal policy. ABC's Janae Norman has more.
Surrounded by faith leaders after a prayer calling on God to bless all Americans, President Trump not saying whether he plans to cut the program that protects hundreds of thousands of undocumented immigrants.
Sometime today or over the weekend, we'll have a decision.
Nearly 800,000 so-called Dreamers are protected under the 2012 executive order by President Obama, offering protection to those brought to the U.S. as children, granting young immigrants temporary permission to stay and work.
We love the Dreamers. We love everybody.
But now that program and those Dreamers are in jeopardy. Several state attorneys general threatening to sue the Trump administration to end DACA, forcing the president to make a decision by Tuesday. Today, the White House saying this.
The president's priorities on immigration are to create a system that encourages legal immigration and benefits our economy and American workers. The president's been very clear. He loves people, and he wants to make sure that this decision is done correctly.
Leaders of some of the country's biggest businesses like Facebook, Apple, Amazon, and Google urging the president to protect the program. And even big-name Republicans, including House Speaker Paul Ryan and Senator Orrin Hatch, backing the push to preserve DACA. Senator Jeff Flake tweeting, Congress needs to take immediate action to protect DACA kids.
As a candidate, Trump vowed to terminate DACA, calling the executive action by President Obama illegal amnesty. But he softened his tone since taking office. Janae Norman, ABC News, Washington.
University of Florida officials are reconsidering allowing white nationalist Richard Spencer to speak on campus. This after UF President Kent Fuchs rejected the request made by Spencer last month to appear September 12th at the campus forum. Spencer threatened to sue. The university said it is committed to upholding the First Amendment right to free speech and civil discourse. Salt Lake City's mayor and police chief are apologizing for the uncalled for manhandling and arrest of a nurse by a detective. Police say Detective Jeff Payne arrested nurse Alex Wubbles for not allowing blood to be taken from an unconscious patient at a hospital. According to the Washington Post, the patient hadn't given consent and the detective didn't have a warrant or probable cause. Police say Payne has been put on modified duty while an investigation takes place. And that's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us and have a great weekend.